Hey there, video people. It's Will Bowman with People Project Media. Today, in this video, I'm going to tell you 8 ways to get better videos out of your current or future producer, whoever is going to be making or is making your videos right now. So, this video is for people who are working with someone, um, either a producer, an employee, or a contractor to do some sort of video production. That could be real production, that could be some sort of a video production project that you have on the docket. Whatever type of video or videos that you're producing, and whatever type of person that you're working with, these 8 tips are going to help you to get a better result out of that relationship, that creative relationship that you're building or you've already built. So the way that this video and the subject of this live today came about is that I am going through a class of my own, and one of the assignments was to create some sort of a piece of content about what my perfect client is, who my perfect client is in the out there, and really, what that made me think of is like, what are the types of behaviors and the types of client interactions that I've found the most valuable for getting the best product and having the most enjoyable process, both for me and also for the clients that I'm working with. So, the way that I decided to interpret the assignment was to create a video which helps you to essentially learn those behaviors for yourself so that you can get better results from your working relationship with your producer. Now, I want to make this clear. This is really about getting the best results and the best videos and having the most enjoyable process. We all, as clients, have areas that we can grow in. It's as important to be a good client as it is to be a good contractor or a good employee or a good producer. The way that you interact with the people who you are working with is very important when it considering the kind of quality of work that you're going to get out of them. I myself work with contractors that are under me and people who are employees. I work with my wife and co-owner, and I very much realize that the way that I interact with them has a direct correlation with the final product that I get from them and am able to deliver to my clients on the turn. So I spend a lot of time thinking about the best ways to interact with them, that's going to set them up for success and help them to get better quality work. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the ways that some of those things that I found are helpful, and also the things that for me are really helpful for me delivering at a high level to the clients who I serve. And then when those clients act in these ways, it's really helpful for me and it helps me to do a better work for them. So it's a selfish motivation for them because they get better work, they get better return, and they just ultimately have a better experience in the process. So we're going to talk about 8 points. And the first one is come fully prepared to the project. Now, I know that this is not always realistic because sometimes the experience that I have with clients is they come to me and they're just not really sure what they're wanting. They're not sure what they're trying to do, what they're trying to create. And that's fine. I get that. We don't always come to projects with the ideas fully formed. And sometimes my job as a creative producer or video producer is to help them or help you or whoever you are to figure out that idea and flesh it out. That's a big difference between coming underprepared with something that you already have conceived. So, one thing that's really helpful for me as a producer is when the client comes with all of their media and all of their needs sort of put together in a nice way. Well, a lot of times what that means is that they have the files that they're wanting me to edit put together on a Drive box or a Google Drive or a Zoho Work Drive or whatever it is they're transferring with me. They have their edit lists put together. They have expectations for timeline and what things they're wanting me to do, what elements they're wanting me to put together. Sometimes that even means they know what questions they're trying to ask or what type of video that they're trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out what type of video they're trying to make, and they know the questions that they need to solve, and I'm able to help them solve it. Coming prepared to the project doesn't necessarily mean having everything figured out. It simply means having what you already have figured out put together in a nice ordered way so that I can see everything and I don't have to spend a lot of time getting what I need from you to be able to take the first steps. So that's one thing that you can do that's really helpful for me and for other producers because it expedites the process and it gives us a comprehensive look into what you're wanting so that we can fit it into our schedules and get it done as quickly and as effectively as possible. Also, when something comes to light later on in a project, it's very, very disruptive when we've already put time into working or editing or producing. And it's also more expensive for you because a lot of times we have to go back and repeat work. So having everything put together on the front end makes it an easier process, a better final product, and also likely less expensive for you in the end. So that's number one. Number two, communicate clearly what you want and give creative freedom. I work with a lot of creatives. As a producer, I don't do everything. I have to delegate out responsibilities to others who I respect as creators themselves. Some areas that I do this are design, user experience, animation. These are some different areas that I myself am not strong in, so I've chosen to delegate out. And over the years, I've learned certain habits that help them to do their best work. And one of those is finding a healthy balance between order and structure and freedom and creativity. Creatives function best when they have clear boundaries in which the project falls and what's expected, and then freedom inside of that context to fulfill it in the way that they're good at. Now, what that looks like is you come to a project and you have clear guidelines of this is what I want. I'm looking for a one-page PDF document that is fillable with these particular texts in there. I want it to be upbeat and exciting. I want it to be in the style of 1970s vintage retro. I'm looking for it to be done in 2 weeks, and here's my budget. That's great structure for which we then have to be able to work in. And that's very helpful because a lot of times people think that creatives just want total creative freedom. Just do what you want, make it what you want. But that doesn't give us a lot to go off of. We desperately, as creatives, want to make clients happy. We want to make you happy. And so giving us boundaries in which to create is really helpful because then that helps us get something to grab onto. But on the flip side of that, what you don't want to do is give so many boundaries that it becomes creatively stifling. What this could look like is saying, I only want to use this particular thing and that particular thing, and I want you to do this and I want you to do that, and I want you to have this line here and that line there and this line there. Because when you do that, it cuts off the creative freedom. It cuts off the flow and the chaos in there in which we are able to bring our skills as creators or designers or video producers and to put it into a form that we think that you'll like. So another example of how this might look. If you're wanting a video, coming to me and saying, I'm wanting a 30-second ad. I want it to be inspiring and epic and unique and a little bit avant-garde. I need it in a month's time. Here's my budget. And what I'd really like it to communicate is these ideas. Please write me a script, present it to me, and then produce it with stock footage. That is a great structure for me to work in. Now, one thing that might not be helpful is if you then sent me 25 different shots that you wanted me to use in it, that you had found on stock video. That might be bordering on a little bit over controlling of the process, because part of my process is I'm able to really dive into my stock libraries and find really amazing shots that probably are going to be better than the ones that you're presenting. Also, it's highly likely I'm not going to have access to the ones that you send to me. A healthy balance between structure and freedom is where creatives thrive. And if you're wanting to get more out of your producer, the best quality work, make sure you're presenting them with both of these elements, and they're going to be able to give you the product that you want. Number 3, share your marketing strategy with them. If your video producer is anything worth their salt, or if they're good at what they do, they're going to know a little bit about marketing. They're going to understand the principles of what makes people move and take action, right? You want to share that stuff with them so that they can reflect that in your video. So, for example, if you're a meditation company and you're looking to reach people who are over the age of 45 who are interested in meditation, and You want to make sure you capture the diversity of people who practice in the shots. Tell them these things because those are the kinds of that's the kind of information that's very helpful for us to have when choosing shots, when choosing music, when choosing sound bites to use and pacing of videos. All of that's very important. Another example is we're wanting share with them where you're wanting to distribute the video. We're wanting to distribute it on social media. We're going to use it at live events. Sharing that kind of marketing information is very helpful for us because it helps us to be able to tailor the length of the video or the style of the video to optimize it for the particular platforms that you're wanting to use it on. Share as much marketing information as you can with your producer, and they're going to give you more tailored videos. They're going to give you better videos, and they're going to give you videos that are more likely to inspire your particular customer to take the action that you want them to take after watching the video. Number 4, set realistic and comfortable timelines. I work best when I am in a relaxed and rhythmic timeline for a project. I don't work well as a creative when I am rushed, when I am pushed to make constant compromises, when I am overwhelmed with projects. My best creativity doesn't come from that. I can create in those environments, but it's not great. And I don't think I'm the only creative that functions like this. If you want your creative to give you the best possible result and outcome and deliverable, give them a comfortable, relaxed timeline so that they can create the things that you want to create. Now, what that means is that you need to think through your project well before the deadline that it's necessary. And let me tell you, a week is not enough time to be able to give the best possible result. It's very difficult to be able to fully do justice to any type of project, design or video especially, with too short of a timeline and turnaround because you're constantly making compromises, you're constantly cutting corners in order to be able to get the final product turned over, and ultimately you're not able to take enough time to really you're digging into your creative reserves when you do that, and that's not the way to get the best possible outcome. Creativity is an energy. It's a resource that we as creatives have. It's not unlimited. And when we're constantly working at a deficit, we are pulling more energy, just like when you are an athlete and you're constantly working on not enough sleep. You're not going to perform as well. If you want your creative to give a better quality product, give them a relaxed, comfortable timeline to be able to give you the product that you really, really want. Number 5, be responsive to their needs. This is something that's really important, not only as working with a creator, but working with any sort of contractor or employee or whatever, if you're managing people. Being responsive to what they need is so important. They want to give you what you want, but in order to do that, they need you to give them what they need. That is the first priority as a manager, is to be able to give your contractors what they need. This is something that I have to constantly be aware of and constantly be mindful of as a business owner and someone who works with employees and works with contractors and works with my coworkers. I have to be very deliberate about getting them what they need so they can give me what I want. And it's the same with contractors. So what this looks like is when they send you an email, do your best to respond in a timely manner. Send them an email back within a day or within 2 days or within 3 days, right? At the most, because that time spent is time that they're not able to be working on your project. Or say that they're needing some clarification on something. Do your best to give it to them quickly and fully. Just giving them a one sentence answer if they ask you for your input on something is not as helpful as sitting down and being intentional about really answering their question. More information is normally better than less information. I'm going to say that again. More information is, I'm going to say normally, but I would say pretty much all the time, better than less information. It's better to give them more and then they can sift through that and figure out what they actually need than to give them not enough and be frustrated because then they have to ask for clarification. So give them what they need so they can give you what you want. Number 6, give timely, substantial, direct, and generative feedback. Now, I've chosen these 4 adjectives for a very specific reason, each one for a very specific reason. I'm going to go through each one at a time. Timely feedback. As creatives, we are working on multiple projects. Your project is not the only project that we're working on. We create our schedules around the project outlines that we create for multiple clients. When we set timeline turnarounds for feedback, it's very important that you follow those because we have created your schedule based off of that timeline turnaround. So if we have set it to where we're going to do 3 days of timeline or 3 days of feedback and then move on into the next process, if that extends to 5 days, that's cutting into time that we would otherwise be editing on your project, which means that we have to rearrange all of our projects to be able to fit it in a different time slot, which we do all the time. But it's very difficult, and it means the project is likely going to be pushed out more than just those 2 days. That's just the way that it is. So if you want your producer to be able to honor the timelines that they give you, do your best to honor the expectations that you give to them. If you say that you're going to give feedback in 2 days, give it in 2 days. If you say that you're going to give feedback in 3 days, give it in 3 days. It's very important to moving the process forward. And if you do that, the projects are going to get done quicker and more fluidly than if you were delayed in your time and your feedback. That being said, we understand that life happens. You can't always honor your feedback promises. We can't either. We're behind schedule sometime too. We understand. However, letting us know that you're running behind is very helpful so that we're not sitting there twiddling our thumbs waiting for you, thinking, why aren't they getting back to me? Do they hate it? What's going on? Be communicative, be timely to the best of your ability, and that's really going to be helpful for us. The next thing is direct. And this is something I run into a lot of times with clients that I just want to clear the air. You don't need to coddle our emotions. As creatives, we can have thick skins. It's not your responsibility to make sure we feel good or we don't feel bad. We want you to tell us what's wrong with our products. We want you to tell us what you don't like about our products that we deliver to you. Because when you tell us that, we can change it and ask questions to make it better. Ultimately, we got into this business because we like creating and we like making people happy. If you're not happy because you're constantly stressing about us being sad or frustrated or you not liking about hurting our feelings, that's not doing anybody any good. Be direct with us when you don't enjoy something, when you don't like something about a product, because we will then ask questions and then we will make changes to be able to make the product better. Yeah, it might hurt our feelings a little bit, but we're adults. We are professionals. We know how to manage our emotions and to say, you know what? It's not personal. This is their product, and it's our job to be able to make the changes. And truth is most of the time it might not hurt our feelings. We're kind of like, okay, well, let's make the changes, right? And if we really genuinely feel like there's something that we're really connected to and committed to, we'll tell you, and we'll tell you why we did it that way and why we think we should do it that way. And then we can have a dialogue back and forth and ultimately come up with the best solution. Bottom line, direct feedback is best. Now, what I don't mean by direct feedback is cruel feedback. There's a difference between being direct and being unkind. When you're being direct, be kind. Don't use adjectives like crappy or shitty or terrible. Say, I don't like this because of this. Be very, very direct. Be very specific. When you say, I don't know, it feels kind of crappy, that's not helpful for us being able to make the changes that you want. Be direct, be specific, tell us what you think so that we can make the product better so that you'll like it more. And we'll be happier that you're happier. Substantial feedback. More is more in feedback world. It's better to give us more feedback than to give us less feedback. Please, I'm going to be really short with this one. Please overwhelm us with feedback. We love hearing feedback. We thrive off of it. A vacuum is the worst thing that we can experience. Please give us more so that we can change the things so that you'll like them better. And finally, generative feedback. Generative feedback is so important. When you want something changed, don't just say, I don't like this. It's really helpful when sometimes that you make suggestions of what could be different. Give a suggestion of how to change it. For example, if you don't like how we incorporated a color in the title of one of our videos or whatever, say, I didn't really like how this color was incorporated in the video. Maybe you could use this color instead. Or maybe say you could take that color and use it in this other place. Be positive and be generative with your feedback. So that gives us ideas of how to make it better rather than just saying, it's kind of crappy, kind of don't like it. I don't really know how to change it, but I don't like it. Be direct, be clear. Super helpful for us being able to give you the product that you want. The product's going to be better and we're going to be happier in the end because you're happier, which is ultimately really what we want. All right. Number 7, work within your creatives, your producers' process as much as possible. When we create processes, it's because we know the processes work. It's because we know that the deliverables are going to be better if we follow the process because we've been doing this a long time and we've done this many times and we know what processes don't work for getting the deliverables that you want. In the same way that your processes you've put in place to be able to be helpful to your clients, we've created our processes for the same reason. So one of the best ways to be helpful to your producer is to follow their process. If they ask for a specific type of feedback, give them that specific type of feedback. If they want a specific type, if they have a specific process for creation, follow that process. They know the process, they're professionals, they've trained, and thus their processes are going to be more refined and optimized for getting a better product. Do your best, just submit to the process, go with them, roll with it, and the product is going to be better at the end, and the process is going to be more enjoyable than if you're asserting your own process and your own expectations on it consistently. And finally, this is number 8, and I would say this is probably one of the most important ones on the list. Be relational, not transactional. As creatives, a lot of times we really value relationships. We value working with people because people are emotional and emotions are very important to us as creatives. We love the process of creating things with feeling. And one of the best things that you can do for us is to allow us into that humanity through a relationship. And that's going to make our products better in the long run because it's going to have more of that human element. When we see more of you, we can reflect that more in the products that we create and in the videos that we create. So, whoever your producer is, be a human with them. Tell them a little bit about your story. Communicate with them about what you like, what you don't like. Don't jump right into talking about a project at the beginning of the meeting. Talk a little bit about the weather. What's going on in your life? How are you feeling? How are your kids doing? All of these things are very important in feeling in a creative, feeling very comfortable and at home in working with intangibles like emotion and feeling and color and all of these things in their relationship with you. By being relational and not just transactional, the product is going to be better. You're going to enjoy working with them more because it's going to be more of a human relationship. And ultimately, everyone's going to be happier at the end of the process. Okay, guys, that is my 8 tips of how to get better videos out of your producer. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe, hit the little icon at the bottom there, and tune in for our next live episode. All right. Thanks, guys. See you on the next time.